This is just a quickie regarding the learning of the 4 d899 impromptus. Do number 3 first, it's the easiest. And while you do it, do the first side of the first page, the first side of the first impromptu, which is twice as long as any of the others and twice as difficult. So that brings up to measure 40. Basically, yeah, measure 40, which is here. So, okay. Of the first impromptu. Then move on to the, I would say, second impromptu. This is not the order I did it, but anyway, it's got the easiest structure. It's a challenging middle section, relatively challenging, but it's easy enough. While you do that, you go on to the next measures of impromptu number 1, which leads you from measure 40 over the page with all the arpeggios in the left and then right hands up to measure 73, okay, which is here. There. So here, okay. Where the chords start with the left hand. And then, so by that time you've done impromptus number 3 and 2, you go on to the fourth impromptu. And while you do the fourth impromptu, you do from 74 to basically until 118. Okay, so that gives you these easy left hand octaves. Then you got the sort of climax, the first climax, okay, which has 2 climaxes in it. There are sort of 4 climaxes really of the piece. With this bit. Yep. That's the one. There's another one after that. So it brings you to the end of that part. So by the time you've done the first, the impromptus number 3, and then number 2, and then number 4, you can do all those impromptus. You've also been doing half of number 1. Number 1 is such a challenging piece. It's twice as difficult and twice as long, and there's, I think, no other way of doing this. Once you've done those other 3, you've only got half of it to do, and you've covered all the parts. What you've got left is just variations on what you've already done in the first half of this impromptu. So I can't recommend anything more wholeheartedly than doing the first 118 measures, which is pretty much exactly half of the first impromptu, whilst you do the number 3, and then number 2, and then number 4. You could do number 3 and then number 4 and number 2 if you like it that way. That's the way I did it. Okay, and that will lead you to bar 118, and then it just leaves you to finish from bar 118 to bar 201, 203. So it's almost exactly halfway. I've thought a lot about it. My Beethoven and Tchaikovsky line teacher says that this number 1 is easily the most difficult one. And what else can I say about it? It's actually, I never thought it, but it's just as genius as the other 3, this first piece. And it's actually, I think for me, it's more, it's like the other 3 are kind of virtuoso. Well, at least they're not, maybe not virtuoso at all, but they're kind of like crowd pleasing pieces, really, in a way. And number 3 is obviously not at all virtuosic, but it's but those 3 are relatively easy, and for an amateur, they are the pinnacle of piano. They're the most with the most perfect pieces and yet the most doable for an amateur piano player. And no other composer has written anything like him. Such a large number of pieces. Really, I mean, with the exception of Beethoven, but I'm not talking about sonatas or his bagatelles. I'm talking about because these are more difficult than them, but they're better, and I think that's the general consensus of piano players. They are just works of genius. The number one is also such a work of genius, but you don't maybe realize it until you start playing it, and it's the most enjoyable to play. And it's, in my opinion, it gets you closer to Schubert's personality. Really, so it covers his life, and it sort of deals with so many aspects of life, whereas the other three are more kind of, they're almost etudes. They're almost like Chopin etudes in a way, in a sense, except much deeper and much more fulfilling and much more, yeah, they're artistically different to Chopin's etudes, which is of course another matter, but they have similarities. So hopefully this video has inspired you to. I think it's the only way to do this first set of impromptus. They're easier than the next set, and in my opinion, and they are well, they're definitely easier. But they are absolute masterpieces, and this is the only way I think to do it. Otherwise, what are you going to be doing? You're going to do the first three and then struggle for a long time with this number one and maybe get disheartened as you do it, or are you going to begin with number one and spend so long trying to do it and maybe get disheartened as you do it? I don't think. I mean, it's not the way I didn't do it this way, but I wish I'd done it this way. So hopefully this has inspired you to do it this way. Thank you very much, and see you next video. Bye bye.